What is up? We are wrestling maniacs out there worldwide. It's the best one, Donnie here, back with a brand new episode of Hot Takes, where I give you guys my hot takes on things going on in the professional wrestling community. But before we get into our hot takes for this week, if you're not a We Are Wrestling Maniac yet already and you're not a part of the thousands of subscribers, the best way to support us is by hitting that subscribe button now, turning on the post notifications, videos be coming out of nowhere like an RKO, and of course you already know, the grind is real. First off, I want to thank Blitzkrieg Pro for bringing Danny and I to the latest show that they had last night at the East Mountain Country Club in Westfield, Mass. Blitzkrieg Pro put on such an incredible show, and I recommend you, if you're in the Western Mass area, to come out to Blitzkrieg Pro. Usually the We Are Wrestling crew are at these shows supporting them. We sponsor, usually a match every show that they have, and it's just a great vibe all around, and the talent, they did such an incredible job last night, and the vlog hopefully will be up later on this week on the We Are Wrestling channel. I know I have been slacking on the vlogs, but we're going to get back on track. But now, moving back on to hot takes. This week, I'm going to be giving you guys my takes on the latest awards for the Wrestling Observer News. They just announced their awards earlier this week, and I want to give you guys my takes. There's some awards that I do agree with. There's others that I kind of want to dive in and give you guys my hot takes on. And definitely, I would love to hear what you guys think as well down in the comment section below, because here on Hot Takes, I love, giving you guys my takes and my opinions without being interrupted, and let you guys listen and hear me out first, and then comment down below if you agree or disagree, because for me, I am very, open to discussions. Alright, so with that being said, let's get into it. The first award we have is Wrestler of the Year, and the Wrestling Observer gave it to Jon Moxley, and the runner-ups were Roman Reigns at 2, Will Ospreay, Okada, and Saraya. And I gotta say, I disagree with Jon Moxley being the Wrestler of the Year. He did have a good year this year in 2022, but I think personally Roman Reigns should be the Wrestler of the Year. There's nobody that's hotter than him right now in the business, and the man's he's already 900 days as the Universal WWE Champion, and he's on the road to 1,000, and there's nothing hotter right now than Roman Reigns in the Bloodline. I just think that Roman had a better year than Jon Moxley personally. But Jon Moxley is still a great talent. I just think that he should have definitely taken a break after losing the AEW World title against CM Punk. Moving on now to the next award, we have the Most Outstanding Wrestler, and they gave it to Will Ospreay. The runner-ups were Bryan Danielson, Okada, Speedball Mike Bailey, Jon Moxley. I have to agree with this award. I think Will Ospreay is definitely one of the cleanest, probably the best professional wrestlers right now in the ring. And I really like in this award that Speedball Mike Bailey is being recognized, because I got the opportunity to witness him wrestle at Blitzkrieg Pro Energy back in March of 2022. He wrestled Alec Price, and it was one of the best professional wrestling matches I've ever seen at a wrestling show, and I've been to about 100 wrestling shows. And Speedball Mike Bailey is continuing to climb up the ladder, and I'm really happy to see that, because he's such a phenomenal talent. And I think Will Ospreay is definitely number one in this situation, and I like how Bryan Danielson is the runner-up. I think this award was a good choice. Moving on now to the third award, we have the Tag Team of the Year, and they gave it to FTR, and the runner-ups were the Briscoes, Young Bucks, the Usos, and the Acclaimed. And here's my hot take on this one. I agree with FTR being the Tag Team of the Year. There's no better tag team right now in professional wrestling than FTR. But my problem now is the runner-ups. Like, the Briscoes, I'm okay with them being at number 2, but personally, I would have the Usos over the Young Bucks in 2022. The Usos right now are the longest reigning WWE Tag Team Champions in, the company's history. And the Young Bucks have been doing more stuff in the Trios division, and they haven't really done much in the Tag Team division, in my opinion, to maybe not be on this list. But I am happy that the Acclaimed is also getting recognized as well. Max Caster, Anthony Bowens, phenomenal talent and such bright futures. I'm glad to see them, climbing up the ladder, and hopefully maybe one of these years they'll win the Tag Team of the Year. Moving on now to the next award, we have Best on Interviews, and they gave this award to MJF, and the runner-ups were Jon Moxley, CM Punk, Sami Zayn, and Eddie Kingston. I think the rankings for that is great. MJF, there's nobody better on the mic right now in professional wrestling than MJF, and I think that this award, definitely fair. I can't argue with the way everything was ranked. Moving on now to the next award, we have Promotion of the Year, and the Wrestling Observer gave it to All Elite Wrestling. The runner-ups were Stardom, WWE, New Japan Pro Wrestling, and the UFC. I never knew that the UFC was professional wrestling, but I guess in this case it is, and they're saying that the UFC is better than Ring of Honor, better than Impact, better than NWA, better than MLW. But I'm not even gonna, give UFC anything in this. I think, AEW has been a great promotion, but I don't know. I think WWE should be up there with them at number 2 because it's actually been a pretty good year for WWE. I think once Triple H, started booking. But overall, I do think AEW definitely was the best overall promotion this year. And I think a lot of that is because of Vince McMahon's bad booking throughout the first half of the year. Moving on now to the next award, we have the Best Weekly TV Show. The Wrestling Observer Awards gave it to AEW Dynamite. And the runner-ups for this one was WWE SmackDown, AEW Rampage, New Japan Strong, and Impact Wrestling. And this is where I have to disagree and give you guys my hot takes on why I disagree with it. And if you are a loyal We Are Wrestling Maniac and you've been here for a while, you know firsthand that I personally am more of an AEW fan than I am a WWE fan. But let's call it like it is. SmackDown is the best weekly TV show this year in wrestling, period. SmackDown has been consistently good all year round compared to, AEW Dynamite. There has been some Dynamite shows that TK, did last minute booking and they weren't really that good. SmackDown, on the other hand, they've always, throughout the year, they built the shows around the Bloodline, which is one of the hottest, wrestling acts right now in, the sport. And I feel like SmackDown has definitely been the best overall show this year, and AEW Dynamite was definitely number 2. Now, if we're talking 2021 or 2020, I would have AEW over SmackDown, Raw, NXT, all of them any day of the week, but I think SmackDown has really picked up a lot of momentum in the year of 2022. Right now, it's a little slow in 2023, but we'll have to wait and see what happens. Moving on now to the next award, we have the Match of the Year. And the winner of this award was Okada versus Ospreay at the G1 Finals. And then at number 2, we had FTR versus Briscoes 3. At number 3, we had Okada versus Ospreay at Wrestle Kingdom 16. Then we had, FTR versus Briscoes 1. And then at number 5, Clash at the Castle, Sheamus versus Gunter. I'm glad that Sheamus versus Gunter is on the top 5. Personally, they should be, I think, up there a little bit more. And I have watched, the Okada versus Ospreay match at the G1 Finals. And personally, I think that is probably the best match of 2022. such a great match from start to finish, and I think that, this award was pretty fair. I do think Gunter and Sheamus should be, at least number 3 on this list, but the winners of this award, I think that was fair. Moving on now to the next award we have here. We have the Hodge Award, aka the non-heavyweight MVP. And this award goes to El Hijiro. And, the runner-ups, we have Darby Allin, El Dispredio. I know I'm pronouncing these names wrong, so I apologize for that. Speedball Mike Bailey and Rey Fenix. And this one, I really don't know the winner of this award, so I'm not going to give you guys my takes on it. I think, Speedball Mike Bailey in 2023 will win this award, hands down, and if he doesn't, then I really need to talk to Dave Meltzer, personally. But if I don't know somebody that won an award, I'm not going to argue it because I need to, do the research on this person to really give you guys my, thoughts and opinions on it. And I'm not going to, argue the winner of this one. Because clearly, this person must be talented if they won this award. Moving on now to the next award here, we have the Women's Wrestling MVP. And the winner of this was, I believe, some girl from Stardom. Her name is Syra or something. I apologize for me not pronouncing these names right. I don't have the best English, alright? So I apologize. But the runner-ups for this, we had Bianca Belair, Jamie Hayter, another girl, I think, from Stardom, and Kiera. And I can't argue this one. I really don't know the winner that much, but I do think Bianca Belair should have won this award. I feel like she had the best year when it comes to, women performers. But I don't really know this winner, and I think I'm going to definitely have to do some research before I can give you guys my, thoughts and opinions on her. Let me know in the comment section below, if you guys agree with, the winner of this, because I really don't know, so I can't give you guys my hot takes on it.
It's gonna be different this year. We're gonna be at Donnie's house again this year.
Not one, but two nights.
Yeah, you're definitely gonna want to be there for sure. It's gonna be fucking A1. Be there, be square.
Moving on now to the next award, we have the Feud of the Year, and the Wrestling Observer Awards gave it to FTR versus the Briscoes. And the runner-ups for this award, we had CM Punk versus MJF, Cody Rhodes versus Seth Rollins, another, Japan team, and then we had the Elite versus Death Triangle. And in my opinion, this might be a hot take, I don't know. I think CM Punk versus MJF was the best feud in 2022. Personally, I think that they really, told a deeper story with this rivalry and, leading to AEW Revolution, having them two, in the dog collar match, really, told the story from start to finish. And I think it really elevated MJF to that next level, working with a guy like CM Punk. And in my opinion, in AEW, that is probably the greatest feud in AEW history, I think. Out of all the rivalries that have happened in All Elite Wrestling, MJF versus CM Punk, I think, is the greatest rivalry that promotion has ever had. And I think number 2, in my opinion, would have been MJF versus Cody Rhodes in the beginning of AEW. But with this award, I do think MJF versus CM Punk was the best feud. I think if FTR and the Briscoes, they had, weekly TV shows with Ring of Honor, I think that they could have definitely told a better story. But unfortunately, TBS and TNT wouldn't allow, the Briscoes on their show. and they had to rely on, these 3 crazy matches that they did at, the Ring of Honor special pay-per-views in 2022. But because of that, I have to, give it to CM Punk versus MJF. In my opinion, they definitely had the best feud. And I know that's definitely controversial. I think it can go both ways. Moving on now to the next award, we have the Most Improved Wrestler, and they gave it to The Acclaimed. And the runner-ups were, we had another Japan wrestler, we had Jamie Hayter, Wheeler Yuta, and Dominic Mysterio. I think this list is very accurate, can't argue about it. The Acclaimed became one of the hottest tag teams in 2022 with their act, and I think they're going to continue to grow in 2023. And Max Caster, getting this, recognition now. I'm very happy for him because in case you guys don't know, I'm wearing the shirt right here, Blitzkrieg Pro. Max Caster, he wrestled a lot of shows for this promotion that We Are Wrestling works with. And seeing him, win the AEW Tag Team Champions with, Anthony Bowens and, really having the spotlight now really makes me happy as, a big independent wrestling fan. I'm very happy to see Max Caster, continue to grow and, become, a star. And I'm very happy that, the Acclaimed won this award. I think they absolutely deserve it. Wheeler Yuta definitely improved a lot in 2022. He, was in a horrible act with Best Friends. Now he's a part of the Blackpool Combat Club. Finally a somebody. And Dominic Mysterio, ever since that man turned heel, his work has been one of, my favorite, guys on the WWE main roster. And I'm really enjoying his work right now at the Judgment Day. Moving on now to the next award, we have the Best Technical Wrestler Award, and they gave it to Bryan Danielson. The runner-ups, we have Zack Sabre Jr., Daniel Garcia, Sairi, and Josh Alexander. They must really think Sairi is very good. I'm really going to have to do some research because she's like a runner-up in like all of these awards here. I think, Bryan Danielson's definitely the best technical wrestler. There's no argument about that right now. Zack Sabre Jr., he's also very talented as well. Daniel Garcia, he had a really good year. He had a really good, point toward, the summer of 2022. Daniel Garcia was really, getting, connected with the crowd. And unfortunately, AEW, in my opinion, didn't pull the trigger when they should have. Because now I feel like he has regressed since, that big potential push that he was going to get in 2022 when he was going to turn on the Jericho Appreciation Society. But I definitely think Bryan Danielson deserves this award. Well deserved. And he's probably going to win this award again in 2023. Moving on now to the next award, we have the Bruiser Brody Memorial / Best Brawler Award. And they gave it to Jon Moxley. And then, the runner-ups for this, we had couple New Japan wrestlers, Eddie Kingston and Gunter. And I think this is an award I do have to say Jon Moxley definitely deserves. There's nobody that deserves the Brawler Award than Jon Moxley. The man literally bleeds every week on AEW Dynamite. And this is an award I would give to Jon Moxley, and I can't argue about the runner-ups or anything about it. Moving on now to the next award, we have the Best Flying Wrestler, and they gave this to El Higo del Vingi. I can't pronounce his name. I'm just going to say El Higo. They gave that to him, and then the runner-ups, we have Rey Fenix, Dante Martin, another, wrestler I can't pronounce, and Will Ospreay. And this one I can't argue about. I really don't know the winner of this, and if I knew the winner, I would give you guys my hot takes and opinions on it, but I can't be biased here. Moving on now to the next award, we have the Most Overrated, and they gave this award to Ronda Rousey! And the runner-ups, we had Tyrus, Roman Reigns, CM Punk, and Austin Theory. And I gotta say, Ronda Rousey definitely deserves this award. I think if there was a year that she got exposed for her bad wrestling. It was in 2022. And a lot of that was Survivor Series, which a funny thing is, her versus Shotzi, I did not watch that match when I was there live in Boston. I actually went and grabbed myself a slice of pizza. I did not watch it. And I'm kind of glad I didn't, because they were saying that was like one of the worst matches. And I think it won an award too for that. But Ronda Rousey's definitely overrated. And Tyrus, oh my God, NWA, they really became, in my opinion, one of the worst friggin' wrestling promotions in 2022 because of them pushing the Funkasaurus fucking Tyrus. Just because they want their title to be on Fox News. Fucking stupid. The next award we have is the most underrated award, and they gave it to Take a Shitta. And the runner-ups for this one, we had Chad Gable, Ricochet, Mustafa Ali, Ricky Starks. And this one, I am not going to argue. Take a Shitta is definitely one of the most underrated professional wrestlers right now in AEW. And I'm glad that AEW is actually giving this man, some matches. And I really enjoy his work so much. And his professionalism as well when, wrestling legends criticize him. Like Ric Flair, criticized him for his chops. And instead of taking it personally, he is now, learning from his mistakes. And that right there is a professional. And I actually am going to be having the opportunity to meet this guy at Northeast Wrestling in March. And I'm very excited because he seems like one of the nicest wrestlers, you can meet. Moving on now to the next award, we have the 2022 Rookie of the Year, and they gave it to Bron Breakker. And the runner-ups, we had Hook, Logan Paul, another New Japan guy, and Solo Sikoa. And I think Bron Breakker definitely deserves this award. He definitely, had a great rookie year, winning the NXT World Championship and, pretty much being the face of NXT. I think, I would personally have Logan Paul over Hook. I think Hook, has a really unique style, but I think because of his booking in AEW, he's got to go, down to number 3. I think Logan Paul, is a lot better in the ring than Hook is right now. Can't believe I'm actually saying that. You heard it here first on Hot Takes. I think, I'm not going to argue this one. Bron Breakker definitely deserves the award. Moving on now to the next award, we have the 2022 Best Non-Wrestler. So pretty much the Manager Award. And this one went to Paul Heyman. And the runner-ups were William Regal, Don Callis, Stokely Hathaway, and Rick Ross. I love that Rick Ross is on this list because some of his, promo work he did on AEW, those couple episodes, were so good. And honestly, I would not complain if Rick Ross was like the manager of Swerve Strickland. But yeah, Paul Heyman, I think, definitely deserves this award. Personally, I enjoyed William Regal's work as, the manager of, the Blackpool Combat Club just a little bit more. But I understand why Paul Heyman won this award because, the Bloodline, they're like the hottest thing in 2022 and right now in 2023. And, the wise man, Paul Heyman, is a very valuable asset to the Bloodline, and I can't argue that Paul Heyman won this award. Definitely deserves it. Moving on now to the next award here, we have the Best Television Announcer, and they gave this award to Kevin Kelly. The runner-ups, we had Excalibur, another guy I can't pronounce, Taz, and Pat McAfee. And this one I'm just not going to argue at all. I don't really care for this award. So, Kevin Kelly, congratulations. Moving on now to the next award here, we have the 2022 Best Major Wrestling Show. And they gave this to AEW New Japan Forbidden Door. The runner-ups, we had AEW Revolution, WWE WrestleMania 38 Night 1, Stardom 5, Star Grand, Prix Finals, and WWE Clash at the Castle. This one, I can't argue, AEW New Japan Forbidden Door was definitely one of, the best shows this year. I do think AEW Revolution, in my opinion, I enjoyed that pay-per-view a lot more than, the Forbidden Door event. But I also really enjoyed Clash at the Castle, and I think Clash at the Castle being number 5 is a robbery, and I think that they definitely should be having that a little bit more, closer. I would have that personally at number 2. I would have Forbidden Door at number 3, and I would have Revolution as, my favorite show of 2022. Moving on now to the next award, we have the 2022 Worst Major Wrestling Show. They gave it to the WWE Royal Rumble, and the runner-ups, we had WWE Elimination Chamber 2022, GCW The World, we had Ric Flair's last match, and NWA Hard Times 3. The Royal Rumble last year was horrible, so I can't argue about this award at all. Moving on now to the next award, we had the 2022 Most Disgusting Promotional Tactics, and the winner of this award was Vince McMahon appearing on TV after the sexual allegations, and the runner-ups, WWE Saudi relationship, Ric Flair's last match, Stephanie McMahon's goodbye to Vince, and AEW not punishing Punk after the Adam Page call-out. See here, I am going to have to agree. There's nothing that can be worse on this list than, Vince McMahon appearing on TV and not even explaining his actions or anything, just going on there to, boost his ego up a little bit. I really did not like that move for Vince McMahon whatsoever, and I think it was very unprofessional of him to, do that just to get, ratings. Absolutely disgusting, but I'm not going to, get into detail about Vince McMahon because on the We Are Wrestling channel, we've talked about him enough with the whole WWE allegation stuff. So yeah, we're just going to leave it at that. Moving on now to the next award here, the 2022 Worst TV Show. They gave it to WWE Raw, and the runner-ups, we had WWE NXT, NWA Power, AEW Rampage, and Women's of Wrestling. And this award I have to absolutely disagree with 1,000,000%. A reason why I wanted to do this episode on Hot Takes about the Wrestling Observer Awards is because of this shitty category. I think that the worst show in 2022 has to be NWA Power. Who the fuck watches NWA Power? At least WWE Raw, they get 2 million to 1 million viewers a week. NWA Power, they're lucky if they even get 100,000 viewers. So how the fuck is WWE Raw and NXT ahead of NWA Power? Make it make sense, Dave Meltzer, and this Wrestling Observer crap. Moving on now to the next award here, we had the 2022 Worst Match of the Year. They gave it to Vince McMahon versus Pat McAfee. Runner-ups, Ric Flair and Andrade versus Jeff Jarrett and Jay Lethal. Ronda Rousey versus Shotzi. The Men's Royal Rumble, Matt Cardona, Trevor Murdoch, Tyrus at NWA, Hard Times. And yeah, Vince McMahon versus Pat McAfee was not a good match, but it was very entertaining what happened after the match. And it was a match that wasn't scheduled. Obviously, Vince McMahon is way past his prime when it comes to being in the ring. So obviously, this award I'm not going to argue with at all. Moving on now to the next award, we had the 2022 Worst Feud of the Year award. And they gave this to The Miz versus Dexter Lumis. The runner-ups, we had Ronda Rousey versus Liv Morgan. Bray Wyatt versus LA Knight, Sammy Guevara versus Scorpio Sky, Braun Breaker versus Joe Gacy. And this one, I have to disagree with. I don't think The Miz and Dexter Lumis were the worst feud in 2022. I think, I would have any of these other ones over them. And for me, there's really no number one on this one, so I really just don't care. Moving on now to the next award, we had the 2022 Worst Promotion of the Year award. And of course, Dave Meltzer and, the Wrestling Observer gave it to WWE. And the runner-ups for this one, NWA, Control Your Narrative, AAA, and GCW. And this one really pisses me off, and I think really exposes the Wrestling Observer and Dave Meltzer for, working behind closed doors with AEW, because, of course, AEW definitely acknowledged these awards. We just saw the post, a couple days ago, them praising, this whole Wrestling Observer Awards, and I think Wrestling Observer and Dave Meltzer are definitely biased, towards AEW and trying to give, negative light to WWE. And if you think WWE is the worst promotion in 2022, you are absolutely fucking delusional. If you are going to say WWE is worse than NWA, if you're going to say WWE is worse than Control Your Narrative, though, that's the thing that pisses me off here, because if I was, giving this award out, Control Your Narrative would be number one, NWA would be right there with them. Control Your Narrative is not even around anymore because it fucking failed. If you watch the first episode of Control Your Narrative, you would see all the people freaking clowning the promotion and the reason why Control Your Narrative didn't work out. I went in having very high hopes for EC3's vision, and I really thought Control Your Narrative could have been, another promotion that could have, really taken off. But after seeing the first episode, it felt like I was freaking playing a video game, but I don't have a controller playing the game. Control Your Narrative is not around anymore. I don't understand why they're not the worst promotion of the year. Literally, the stars left. Braun Strowman left that dumpster fire to go back to WWE. Karrion Kross left that dumpster fire to go back to WWE. Control Your Narrative is easily the worst show, and then at number 2, NWA, because they freaking keep trying to push Tyrus like he's fucking Roman Reigns. NWA Power was really good when it first came out, but now I feel like Billy Corgan is really starting to, make some mistakes as a booker just because he wants his friggin' 10 pounds of gold on friggin' Fox, which nobody gives a shit about in the professional wrestling community. Moving on now to the next award here, we have the 2022 Best Booker, and of course, they gave it to Tony Khan, and the runner-ups, Dana White, another person I can't pronounce, Triple H, and Nick Khan. My opinion, Triple H should be the best promoter in 2022. Tony Khan at number 2. Moving on now to the next award here, the 2022 Best Gimmick. And this one, they gave it to Sami Zayn. The runner-ups, The Acclaimed, Danhausen, Bloodline / Roman Reigns, Orange Cassidy. This one I'm not going to argue with. Sami Zayn was the most entertaining guy in the wrestling, community. Nobody was more entertaining in 2022 than Sami Zayn. And nobody's more entertaining than Sami Zayn in 2023 than, Zayn. And the man should be main eventing WrestleMania and, having the moment Cody Rhodes is about to have. Nothing against Cody Rhodes, I just don't think it's his time yet. Moving on now to the last award that I have here, the 2022 Worst Gimmick. And they gave it to the Maximum Male Models, runner-ups, Uncle Howdy, Kip Sabian, Joe Gacy, Bray Wyatt. Not even going to, acknowledge this award. I think that Kip Sabian, if, he got more TV time, his character would get over. Joe Gacy is pretty much just a Walmart version of Bray Wyatt, and Joe Gacy's a very talented guy, but there's a lot of similarities to his character with Bray Wyatt, and Bray Wyatt, he had, these QR codes that I wasn't the biggest fan of, but he had one of the best returns in, 2022, hands down, and why I don't think he should be in this category at all. The Maximum Male Models, I'm not even going to complain. They definitely deserved it in 2022. But those are all the awards that I had listed. I know there's probably some other ones that are there that I didn't touch, but that's all right. I think we covered most of them on here. Let me know in the comment section below your thoughts on these awards. Do you think that do you think WWE, they were being biased towards them? Because in my opinion, I think that, they were trying to bury WWE as much as they could in this, awards. And, to pretty much tells you all with WWE being worse than Control Your Narrative and NWA. But if you guys enjoyed this hot takes, make sure to smash that like button now. If you're not a We Are Wrestling Maniac yet already, subscribe, turn on the post notifications. The link's down in the description below. You can go follow me on my social medias and other YouTube pages, all that down below. In addition, if you want shorter clips of, the podcast and these videos, we be posting them on TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. All the links down below. And of course, to all the We Are Wrestling Maniacs out there worldwide, we are taking over. Peace.